Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another week of racing here with us at Apollo Racing Club. Tonight we are going to be bringing you race 4 of this season. It's going to be season 12. My goodness, that happened way quicker than I was comfortable with, just being around as long as I have. Season 12, race 4. We're going to be at Barcelona this weekend after a pretty interesting and competitive race at Nürburgring here at Barcelona. A bit more room for the driver for the drivers to work with. But before I continue to trip over myself anymore, Tom, how you doing tonight?
Really well. Yeah, as always, looking forward to this race. And I know Spain is known for being nice and sunny, but it does seem as though we've had a little bit of rain in the practice sessions, so there could be some changeable conditions which will make it exciting if that happens.
Yeah, and we'll see. The weather forecast as it stands right now is a 50-50 split between a dry race and a not dry race, so good that the drivers were able to get some of that practice in. But while we're doing this, we've got some cars out on the track right now getting ready to start this qualifying session. The clock is counting down, but it's a little bit of a long out lap there for the drivers. So let's go ahead and get over trackside, and we will take a closer look at what is going on over there. Alex Ardoin there rounding the last couple corners here. It looks like the drivers are starting to space out just a little bit, and they're going to get this qualifying session going.
Yeah, so heading into this round, I know that Andrew Jaschke is currently leading the championship, and it's been a really mixed up state of affairs, really, with 3 different winners. Xu Chen, who was leading the championship up until last round, now sitting in 16th, wasn't able to attend the last race, but had 2 second places. And yeah, what it means is the standings are quite mixed up, but it's anyone's game.
Yeah, that was something we were looking at or talking about last week, was while we were looking at the scoreboard and just kind of realizing the way that scoring is working this season is leaving a lot of dynamicism on the leaderboard, because we have Andrew Jaschke with a 6th, a 5th, and a 15th place finish with 187 points. Tied for first is Mattia Porta with a, P15, a P1, and a P11 race or win. So it's kind of interesting to see how the points are shaking out, but it has made the battles for position on the grander scheme of things all that much more interesting, because the difference between, 8th place and 1st place, that's 14 points. That's it. So it's pretty close. Whereas normally we see with a more logarithmic or exponential scoring scale, things tend to be won or lost pretty early on. But we've got a lot of middle of the ground finishers here that are in contention for good placing. A lot of people very close to the top 10. So it has definitely been interesting to see how that's shaken out. And there we go. First time across the line, Alex Ardoin going to set a 146.01. Not a bad place to start up in first place. We have Casey Bennett with a 144.69. Got Andrew Sear across the line with a 145.57. Tommy Kogan with another 145.84. And it looks like the rest of them are still waiting to get a good lap in.
Got currently a 29 car grid, so unless we have any late showers, which we've had, actually even last race we had the driver arrive after qualifying, so just to add one extra car to the grid. Definitely is looking a little bit overcast here.
Yeah, let me take a look at what the weather report is saying here, just so we can get an idea of what the rest of qualifying is going to look like. It does say it's just going to stay overcast. The track is only fast, though.
Yeah, and I just saw Matt Artem has not spun around, but he was pulled off to one side. Zach Doran currently at the top of the timesheets with these early laps. Zach won the last round at Nürburgring. So he'll be hoping to continue that streak.
And bear with me here. I'm trying to get our other commentator here, Jeff Spangler, in the room. So if Jeff, if you're watching and you see this before I can type out a DM, move into a different voice chat so I can actually grab you. There we go. All right, now the door's unlocked. We can go ahead and let him in. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, we're doing just fine. Watching this quali session, and it looks like we have Alex Arduin right now looking to make an improvement on his already fast pace here. Found just, let's see, what is that? Does that say 1/10? Man, I'm off my game today. So he's just inching forward of that PB, looking to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, Alex abandoned the last run and went back to the pits, and is probably running very low fuel at the moment, just to get those times as good as they can be.
Also got another couple of other drivers looking to make some improvements. Mohamed Nandava, 4/10 up on their previous best, and actually getting close to finishing this lap. Let's see if they can hang on to it. Coming around the worst chicane in the world. And now down the final corner to set this lap. Looks like he's going to hang on to it. Lost a little bit of time there coming around the exit of that chicane, but will bank a new PB and move up a position into 14th place.
Worst corner in the world. Retweet, my friend. Retweet.
I do love this track. I think it's a lot of fun. It kind of has a little bit of everything for everybody. And I found that just it's a nice challenge, but that one chicane, man, just they're talking about getting rid of it in the real world, and I just cannot wait for that to happen.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just RNG for me every single time. A lot of times you can't see it because of your A pillar, and yeah, there's very little margin for error. You see somebody just fly through it, stomp on the throttle halfway through, just guide it out. I'm like, man, I want to do that.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a couple corners that feel like they have tightening radiuses and don't necessarily, but it can trick you into getting on the power too soon, too late. It takes a lot of skill to get a good lap around here, so I understand, you know. It's not a track that garners a lot of attention and is a lot of people's favorites, but here it is, and here's the challenge. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Looks like a good line there for Andrew Komisarov's gonna cross the line with a 1.1 second lead on his previous best, and that is gonna net him several positions, bumps him up to 12th place. But we have a late shower here. Mohamed Ifran is currently out with a purple border, on track to set the best lap of the session. Of course, as soon as I go over to him, he loses a couple tenths. Looks like he gets one back though. Now just a couple corners to go. And we might have a new first place here when he is done with this lap. Ooh, finds 2 tenths on the exit of the chicane, and that is gonna be a monster of a time.
Honda, Honda, Honda.
And there it is, 3/10 faster
go.
than the previous first place. Mohamed Ifran going to cross the line with a 1:44.0 as the new time to beat.
Right to the top of the board, and yes, as a Honda driver, I can get behind that for sure. Also not everyone's favorite, but really fun car to drive. It just seems to work for me.
Yeah, it's definitely been enjoying its time in the sun after years out in the cold. You say that. Of note here, I'm wondering why we hadn't seen any 43s yet. The track is still fast. So we'll see if that changes in the next 10 minutes with about 28 cars going around. I think there's a chance it could. Temps aren't terrible, 22 ambient and 29 on the track, so keep an eye on that. We'll see if the conditions improve for these guys.
I don't know if you caught any of the practice session, but we were talking about it at the beginning of the stream. We actually had rain early into practice, turned into a drizzle, and then eventually a drying track, which is kind of setting the tone of how this race is going to look, especially considering that qualifying is, well, the only difference is that it's drier at the start. With a 50-50 chance of rain predicted in the forecast, it'll be interesting to see if we end up with a little bit of a wet race in Spain tonight. And a great lap there by Juan Kyries, moves himself up into 7th place with a 144.6.
I think one would not complain if we did get a little bit of rain. The leveler, as it's often described. Matt Burns sitting in 3rd place. I haven't seen Matt up in the top positions recently. The series champion from last season.
Yeah, serial champion here at ARC. I think he's won the last 2.
That is true. As a matter of fact, yes, it is. He has won the last 2. But it looks like this new season has brought him some legitimate competition here, with Alex Ardoin and Zach Doran here being within 5 1,000ths of his lap time.
Yeah, Matt had a couple really tough races as well. I know the first round didn't go well, and was it Brands Hatch as well? It might have been quite difficult.
I think he missed the last one too. Yeah, Zach Doran, there we go, 43.8. I would guess this is getting towards the optimum end of fast, so we'll see if it ticks over here pretty soon, but wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of improvements here in the next few minutes, which should keep things very interesting.
Jet Limacross with a new personal best with a 146.0 moves himself up into 20th place. We've got a couple of other folks on the board looking to move around here. Jan Stam among them. Just now coming through Sector 2, and he is currently just shy of a half second up on his previous best. Still a lot of time to improve here. It looks like he gets a good run up the hill into the back straight. Can he eke out just a little bit more time? It actually looks like he is losing a little bit of time down the straight. Not quite as good of an exit through there as I think he was hoping for. Let's see if he can make it up here through the tricky bit of the track. Ooh, that looks a lot better. Oh, that time is still growing. Now up to 0.7. Make that 0.8. Can he pinch out a second? Ooh, it's gonna be close. Get a good exit down the straight. Well, it will certainly be a new PB and nets him 3 positions, moving himself up into 20th place with a 145.9.
Just checking the leaderboard here, and as always, nice to see a couple of new faces, new vehicles and drivers. Mark Levine is with us, and then this is another one to butcher. I think Gelandi Haki.
Yeah,
I'm hoping I got that from Indonesia, and well, I'm just going to use this as an opportunity as well to mention Professor Cuthbert Calculus is the last driver yet to set a time. So interesting, sitting in the pits. Don't know if they're going to opt to start from the back of the field.
It's a bold strategy. We'll see if it plays out for him.
Yeah, so Mattia Porter was a race winner at Brands Hatch. Currently sitting in 5th, just ahead of Matt Byrne. 0.012 seconds, so very little splitting them, and got a second covering almost the top 11, certainly the top 10 within 0.8 of a second of one another, so really pretty tight.
Looks like Derek Doppler is now on course to set a pole-winning time or provisional pole. Wow, and that was before he jumped up another 3/10.
Yeah, I think Derek just came past. I was on board with Mark Levine on my screen here and saw the Porsche fly by. So
Look at the time is still going up. Sorry to cut you off there, but just in 3 corners, he's gained over a second, and he's continuing to go out as we see a car go off track there. Make that 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen.
These other drivers have families out here. Come on, man.
Jeez Louise, but there we go. That is going to be...
Oh, no, wait a minute.
What?
What, did I... you know what? I must have thought he was already much closer than he was to pole. What happened? I wasn't lying. He was telling me he was on pole, and then he's, you know, really far off, and all the Delta said he's gaining. That's weird.
I'm very...
Kudos things, I guess.
Just kudos things, I guess. I'm very... Because I was going to say, I find 3 seconds there on camera, man.
Like, holy cow. That's wild if true, but... Mohammed Irfan here. Let's see if... you can't trust the timing screen now.
Certainly at the moment this would put Irfan in pole if they're able to take another 0.3 to 0.4 seconds. Currently sitting 0.127 back on pole, so just coming through the final chicane that was smitten early in the race.
Alex Ardoin sneaks in for first place for just a moment there, and we have a 143.5 out of Mohammed Ifrin.
Oh. Wow, so Zach Doran getting knocked right down to 3rd place from 1st in a heartbeat.
Matt Burns sitting in 7th back out on the track. I'm guessing he was waiting to just take minimal fuel and just give it another go here as the track continues to improve. So not sure if he's on I believe he is on a down lap. His last looked like it was his out lap sitting in the pits. So we'll see how he does. He lost a 10th through the first couple corners.
Yeah,
he should have time for one more lap at least.
Got 2 minutes and 10 on the clock, so I think anyone would have to be leaving the pits roundabout now and we have got a car emerging from the pits. So if they're able to get around in under 2 minutes, then they should be able to get a final hot lap in.
It's looking like that's what a couple of drivers have done. It looks like one more has just come out of the pits now. I don't know if that last one is going to have quite enough time. We'll see. Looking around, we'll check back in with Matt Byrne here in a little bit. Right now, Mark Levine. I think you were right. I think it's Levine. Is currently going for another PB here, just bobbling between 3 and 4 tenths up on their previous best. Now a half second. Let's see if he hangs on to it.
You said Mark Levin, and I was like, conservative radio hours? Mark Levin? I might pay to hear him call a race just because of the uniqueness of his voice.
In Canada on CBC Radio, there is a host whose name I don't even remember anymore because we just call him Rich Stirfry.
I don't understand your culture at all. Ooh, it looks like a yellow flag for Matt Byrne and a teleport back to the pits. Looks like he will not get his wish.
Yeah, he just pulled off. I think he might have run into some traffic there, so 8th place at best for Mr. No, McLaren, no.
We are seeing that the track is still fast, in quotations, because that means that it's not optimum, so it's not fully rubbered in after the rain, and we are at, the clock has turned run down to 0, so these are the final laps coming through.
Yeah, one Kairos here, 4/10. There you go, 4th place.
It's a big jump.
Mega effort there at the end, yeah. Bennett stands to gain a little bit here too. Put him in the high 43s. If he can nail it the rest of this lap, but he's still got a ways to go here.
I don't know who I was on board with, but they got a tank slapper into the wall, so I got to go for a ride.
That's too bad. Hopefully that's the last of their bad luck going into the race. It's not a whole lot of punishment for it happening here, but just a little bit of time left here for all of the drivers to make their final gains, and Casey Bennett overshoots.
Oh, no.
That is too bad.
It's a little too late, but the track is finally optimum. So, 77 looks like he's on a valid lap. We'll see if he can gain a little bit of time here.
Certainly, just watching Sebastian Mathieu here. Coming through the chicane. Running it out. Is that... Seems like we're still valid there. That wasn't too wide. Cross the line. That'll pop him from 19th up to 15th place. So that was a decent improvement.
And oh, there we go. That is going to be qualifying over. Alexander Barnes getting one last chance to practice his entry into pit lane.
Yeah, that's something that's worth doing.
Indeed, indeed. Well, congratulations to Mohamed Ifran there for qualifying on pole. Zach Doran and Alex Ardoin not far behind him, sitting in 2nd and 3rd place. Mattia Porta in 4th place. Juan Kyries in 5th. Mateus Alves in 6th. Derek Doppler in 7th. Casey Bennett in 8th. Ooh. Matt Byrne in 9th. And Mark Levine in P10.
Over in the Channel 4 weather chopper, we can report that it will be rainy in 30 minutes.
Uh-oh.
Perfect. And now...
we'll be raining in 10, but we'll see.
Okay. With a big long pit window now, I think that'll add to the strategy and the options that the drivers have in terms of switching to the wets. And you know, we've seen drivers stay on dries through rainy patches and risk it and make that work. Lots of different options.
Now, if you are wise and you're getting ready to start this race, you are keeping one eye on the weather widget over the next 2 minutes, or maybe 1 minute and 45 seconds now, because you don't want to start from the pits, just to see if perhaps it will switch to rain in 10. But yeah, with the large pit window, definitely lots of options. You can probably load up on fuel, hedge your bets, and kind of pit whenever you want to.
There's always some very striking cars.
Just trying to do our best, make sure that everybody gets to see them. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Not a lot of the highlighter yellow and green that we're used to seeing, but it's a welcome change.
Yeah, lots of great looking cars there, and some nice greens.
There's some
Black and
highlighter
green.
yellows.
Oof.
There you go.
Two-tone. Yeah. Love it. You love to see it.
We got a highlighter yellow hater in the building here.
I personally love highlighter yellow, so
his rain godness Melon Pitch isn't here to give us true eyesores,
oh,
so I guess I
Rain
should be.
in 10,
oh
rain
no!
in 10.
Rain in 10 minutes,
We're gonna
guys.
see these cars go back up on the jacks if they're paying attention.
30 seconds.
Ooh, 30
see.
seconds. Oh, and it's rain plus now at 30, but both are light rain, so there's still going to be some flexibility, definitely.
that's the thing, is if it's so light, the temptation will be that if the rain happens within that first 10 minutes, everyone will stick on dries, they'll come in, when the pit windows open after the first 5 minutes, but then if you switch on to wets, they might be toasted very quickly.
Yeah.
And we've had a car go to
Oh
couple
no,
of cars
Bennett.
go to the pits.
Uh-oh.
Bennett to the pits.
Yeah, Bennett to the
maybe-
pits. Also, Wilfrandy Ramirez to the pits.
There it is. Yeah, no, if you're still working on your setup when the clock reaches 0, that's it. That's you. You're starting from the pits.
Yeah, so this should be pretty interesting. I mean, definitely want to be starting on your dry tires right now. But with the number of cars driving around and the light rain, there should be a much longer period of the track changing. Although I say this, sometimes it feels like they still flip a switch and it's like, oh, it's dry, and then, you know, it starts raining, and then 10 seconds later, it's already wet, even when it says it shouldn't be raining too much. But weather widget now has 2 rain dashes at 30 minutes, so it will get up to medium rain, it looks like. But yeah, I think a lot of races are going to be made or broken. You know, if you can just get that pit, that timing down to go into your wet tires.
Like I say, I'm excited to see whether anyone tries to just last out, and I've seen it work very successfully, just driving on the dries very slowly and, you know, not losing enough time that it outweighs the pit stop that would be taken otherwise. But
Matt
there
Byrne
is
stopped on the track?
Sorry?
Oh, no,
What?
Matt Byrne,
Oh.
Matt Byrne was stopped on the track. Okay, he's caught up to his spot now.
Okay.
You gotta get
Yeah,
teleported, son.
the drivers will be dragging brakes and trying to get a little bit of temperature into those tires, and the brakes. Warming up the brain.
Did you just see that too? You guys probably saw that.
Yeah.
I don't think it shows. I don't think it shows up on the broadcast. But for those that can't see, Matt Burns just typed in the chat, which is, "Oh no, sir," that he almost got teleported to pits with 1.5 seconds left.
Well, living life dangerously.
Absolutely.
Right. Car's going to double file, and Matt, over to you.
Yeah, and here we go. So now just rounding the final chicane, we get ready to kick this race off. Drivers lining up double file, taking advantage of the last couple of moments of non-collision that they can before we engage in a bloodbath if they don't give each other a little bit more room. See a McLaren and a BMW getting awfully friendly there over on the other screen, but that is going to do it for the pre-race shenanigans. Now we are just waiting for the green lights to light, and we get this race underway. And right off the bat, a penalty handed out to the number 100 car for being in the wrong position or speeding on pit lane. I forget what it was. Whoa! And way to the inside goes Mohammed Ifrin to start off this race. Not, oh my goodness, and there is already massive carnage in the backfield. I am not sure what happened there, folks, but they are still getting it sorted out. Oh,
Wow.
That is not what you want to see.
Yeah, it looked like Jan Stam and the Porsche, I saw him careening across the track. Almost like he got pitted by somebody. That's unfortunate.
Ooh, and a bold move there on the inside by Mattia Porta as the rain starts falling, not even 5 turns into this race. Oh, and things are about to get spicy, folks.
That was a massive incident, and yeah, I mean, this car going too wide into the turn here, so yeah, a lot going on.
Well, if the widget didn't show it, that surely means it's going to stop raining in the next few minutes. Although now it says plus 5. That's wild. It didn't even. I mean, wow, that's weird. Huh.
Well, that's it looks like that's the race we're in for today. But look at this midfield, still double filed through some of these corners here, and it looks like they're just going to run out of room here. And there it goes. I hate being right. Derek Doppler spun around and collected by Andrew Komisarov there in the hairpin. And that, and a little bit of contact there from Matt Byrne. Come on, gentlemen.
So now with the rain, this is almost an opportunity for anyone who has damage that maybe it won't cost as much as it would have in a regular dry race. So still plenty of opportunity for Zach Durham.
This is very true. That was a pretty hard hit there from the Lamborghini, though. But look at this. Down the straight, Matt Byrne locks in behind that Audi to take advantage of that slightly faster car. Goes for the shot on the inside. And is he late enough on the brakes? He is. Moves himself up into third place.
We do have a couple cars already in the pits, so this is ahead of the pit window. Those cars 43 and 9. It's Mohamed Nandava and... I'll get back to you.
All right, that was a great move there by Matt Artem as well. Gives it a shot up the inside. Oh, and the Aston Martin almost overshoots, but he hangs on to it, loses a couple of positions. But this is what I like about watching races at Barcelona. The track's actually got room for more than one car in a lot of the places, so you can go for those passes as soon as the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, I have to say I must have missed something with the weather widget, because we have almost like a 50-50 split on track with folks with wet and dry tires. Matt Byrne making headway there, but he is on dries. So we'll see how long that lasts, but at least we're in the pit window for everybody. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of wets, a lot of dries. So, you know, the old, I love to say, put things in a blender and see what comes out the other side. I think that's what we're in for here.
See what kind of salad we tossed. I was going to say that Mark Levine had made a couple places off the start, having started in 10th, now in 9th, so absolutely getting swallowed, just dropping back here, and perhaps being put off his rhythm, and when there's several cars behind you, the one will open the door and the rest go through. So Mark Levine actually coming into the pits now, perhaps some damage, or coming in for tires. Who knows?
I would imagine coming in for tires. He might have just gotten his dries underfilled or didn't anticipate the rain that quickly, and it might just be a good call for him to get in and get those tires swapped.
So
that burned into the pits too.
It was Hackey as well as Jetlim in the pits, and they are just heading out again now. So hopefully any damage has been repaired, but yeah, we've still got a minute before the pit window opens, so that's tough for anyone who does feel the need to come in. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes. I think it opened, I think it's a, what, 55-minute?
It is.
Yeah, it is. It just, those cars that went in after lap 1, I think just barely missed it, unfortunately. But...
And something to point out, the number 43 car, Mohamed Nandava, picked up a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane.
That is really unfortunate. You'll have to try to find out whether that was on entry or exit. I've said it many a time before, it's very easy to shift up when you're leaving your box just to try to get that extra traction and forget that, well, that disengages the pit limiter. So that, or with the low adhesion as well, like it'll be very easy to slide into the pits and just break that 50k limit.
Yeah, I think we're approaching the judgment call zone for pitting if you're still on dries. Looks like our leaders, first and second place, are into the pits now. So Alex Arduin, who is already on wet tires, will inherit the lead.
Yep, it looks like both Matt Artem and Sebastian Mateus are going to go into the pits next. I think that is just going to be the trend we're going to be watching for a little bit here. Anybody who started on wets is feeling pretty smart right about now.
Yeah, it's definitely more than a bit wet.
And that rain just came out of nowhere. It is pouring out there.
Yeah, track conditions still damp. It looks visually like it's raining more than I think it is. Yeah, obviously varying levels of dampness, but when you get to that late damp stage, that's where you are probably wanting to pit for wets.
Gotta say, looking at the pits, it is packed right now. We have a lot of cars in the pits there, so this is as early as we have had that many cars there, and one of the cars that is pitting is Mankari's, who currently holds the fastest lap. So I mean, we're gonna have to try to see what tires people are going on to. I mean, wets, right? But if one was already on wets, he must have been on dries.
Yeah, I believe he was.
Okay.
And he if the rain doesn't stop, that's absolutely an extra point for him for fastest lap. Yeah.
Yeah, that lap would have been set before it got quite as wet as it did. So, all right.
The real question is, what is the pace going to look like going forward? You know, was it? Are we going to see another quicker lap like that once the drivers get settled in, or was that about the only shot we think we had?
I mean, there's still time. We've only got a forecast, at least what I can see, is only 15 minutes ahead of time, and that still says it's going to keep raining. So 15 minutes from now, if it were to stop, that's only 20 minutes into the race. The track can dry reasonably quickly if track temperature we're seeing at the moment is 26 degrees. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know what to think, man. Weather can be all over the place here, and if I've learned anything, it's once it's started getting wet and you have dedicated to getting over to those wet weather tires, even if you are only expecting a damp track for the remainder of what would it be, probably the next half of the race if it were to stop. It would need the sunshine to come out to get a lot of these drivers to come back in on wets and have it still be worth the time loss for having to serve another pit stop.
Yeah, if it's raining and goes down to damp, you're definitely going to want to ride it out with your wet tires, even if you're driving on some balloons. I've been keeping an eye on Keith Brown here, currently in 12th. He is still on dry tires, and he is approaching the midway point of his lap and has lost 3.1 seconds already. Track has ticked over to wet, so unfortunately for him, I think he has stayed out just a little bit too long. But as I say that, 15 minutes, the rain will decrease a little bit, so a little bit of luck of the draw here tonight for these guys. Should keep things very, very interesting.
Yeah,
the biggest rain that we have right now is 3rd through 6th. It's because, I mean, with the pit stops and the conditions, the field is really spread out all over the track. I'm looking at the map and it's just cars at every point on the track right now. So yeah, this will be a battle to watch certainly, and I don't believe, I mean, none of these drivers have got Tommy Kogan, extremely experienced, Andrew Jaschke, who's leading the championship, Andrew Sear, who, I mean, we don't watch him too much in case we curse him, and as well as Zach Doran in the Porsche. So Audi, Aston, Porsche, McLaren.
Oh, and we've got a car off. That's Tommy Kogan.
D-Tom, look what you did.
I'm
just
sorry,
mention
Tommy.
the name.
No, that is a real surprise, but it does go to show, like, it's starting to get real slippy out there.
It is dangerous.
Jeff, I mean, the Audi is a car that is more difficult to keep control, as we see another a Ferrari just absolutely squirming all over the place there. So it is, yeah, it's getting exciting. But yeah, no, the Audi is it a good car to be in the rain, or is it a little bit tetchy?
Yeah, definitely on the sketchy side of things. The latest iteration of the Audi, I'm not a huge fan of. Although I wasn't a huge fan of the older ones either. The traction control in the car just sucks. Like, it's just really, 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 really bad. bad. It's too much of a nanny, or it's not enough, and then you die. So, yeah, definitely not a fan. I think when ARC hosted the first of the North American endurance races at Watkins, we drove the Audi, and there was some mixed conditions there towards the end, and it was not too much fun for me, anyways.
Yep, I remember that race. It was interesting to say the least. There was a lot, I'll say there was a lot of strategy that went into being successful at that race, and it was really cool to see the teams kind of work through those problems.
Just watching Casey Bennett get down the inside of Andrew Komisarov there, so that's a Ferrari overtake on a Lamborghini, and made that look very easy. He'd been planning that move from very far back. He's about to take another car. Now I just got to make sure that these cars are both on the lead lap. As
they're
Casey,
not. Oh, but he's going to try and fit through there.
Does get given some. So it'll be sorry, just to go back. We still don't know exactly why Mohammed Irfan pulled off to the side there out of pole. So perhaps just some sort of a technical issue, but the upshot of that was that they were then caught up in they were well off to the side and got caught up in this incident that had been brewing further back, completely no fault of their own. So
it was, I'd be very curious to know what happened there.
Yeah. Somebody needs to, you're watching it here, somebody needs to get on the phone with Keith Brown and tell him to pit and get off these dry tires. He is struggling. Struggling.
I will
this
never.
is not good. This is not good. Okay.
I'm not going to pass judgment until the end of the race. I'm sure if there's a plan, I want to see what it is.
He was able to fend off Roadside Cookie for, the better part of 2 laps. So it is losing him time. Definitively looking at the last laps coming out of the majority of the field here, almost 7 seconds quicker from some of the faster guys. Gotta wonder why he's staying out on those dries.
Yeah, there's gambling, and then there's what this is, which is, extreme gambling, I guess.
Yeah.
So we can take a look at Zach Doran up on the rear bumper of Andrew Jaski, getting extremely personal, but keeping it clean there.
It's just such a dangerous spot to be, but the drivers giving each other enough room, thankfully.
Yeah, very easy to outbrake yourself. As Jaski goes wide a little bit on the back straight. That will give the little 2-cylinder Porsche a chance. Oh, not enough of what it seems.
He's not out of it yet, though.
I got a bag on him whenever I can.
It was good defense from Jaski, just going in a little bit deep, but not being too heavy-handed there. And the Porsche just looking for the switchback, but wasn't able to get it. Dropping back in line now, and the unnamed McLaren driver just a short way back from them.
That would be Andrew Sear.
Nothing happened, so I think we're okay.
All right, he was driving in a straight line.
Yeah. So, looking to the top, Alex Ardoin's still out on the wets that he started on. And then we've got Alves sitting in second place in the Ferrari. So, where did they start in qualifying?
Let's see, Mateus Alves started in 6th place. Alex Ardoin started in 3rd.
Right. Okay, so obviously there are some of the lead cars that already came into the pits, but they'll be doing a long stint, and I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. We're just
We're
seeing
just
the results of this
over here.
two-car battle here, forcing Zach Doran to take compromised lines, but he is keeping his nose in it, and I think he just got the move done that he had been trying to make happen there for the better part of those 3 corners, but he manages to keep that Porsche going the right way around despite its best efforts to kill him. And now Andrew Jaski has another problem. Andrew Sear is right behind him. And this is a 3-car battle now for, that'd be 3rd place.
Yeah.
That's it. Andrew being brought right into this battle, and sorry, the 2 Andrews. So when I say Andrew, first time I meant Andrew here. But Jaski was flashing, I think, there either as an apology or as a just expressing his displeasure at being overtaken. Now we see 2 McLarens battling it out, and that's Keith Brown is still on those dry tires potentially.
Oh, there's no potential about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's he hasn't served a mandatory stop, so.
Oh, and it looks like here we're in a chance a replay here. Bear with me here. Andrew Sear goes for the late break on the inside.
Andrew,
and there
Andrew.
a little battle of the Andrews there.
Yeah, that looked like a late break with nowhere to go. You know, usually you want to try to stay to the outside if you have to. If you know you're going to bomb somebody and you're going to hit them, but if you're too close, you really can't get out of the way. So we'll see. You're watching Matt Byrne here. I know your tool has a little feature that shows where people will come out of the pits. Matt Byrne seems to be leading the already pitted committee, so I'd be interested to see where it thinks the current effective race leader will come out once he pits.
What would you guess, out of curiosity?
Let's see, I'm looking here, we've got like 10 seconds from first to second. So 16, 19, then another 2, 3, or 4, then another 11, 30 seconds. Then another 13.2. I'm gonna say, obviously the weather is a wild card here. Looks like the rain is gonna decrease here a little bit. I'm gonna say Matt Byrne might be our leader once everybody comes from the pits.
Ooh, a big spin there from Tommy Kogan. It's not going to be him now because that is a costly spin there. Unfortunately, drops down 4 positions. But if you are wondering, Matt Byrne is currently predicted to still be in first place.
Well, all right.
So he is our effective pole sitter right now. Take a look over at Derek Doppler and Andrew Jaski getting into it on lap 10 of this race. Oh my goodness, that scares me every time I see it. But Andrew Jaski there on the outside line fighting for grip. It might be it's the long way around, but he managed to stay out in front of that Porsche.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that the Jaski setup is not exactly suited for much rain at all. He seems to be struggling just a little bit, but of course, you know, a very accomplished driver himself. He's got some fast drivers right behind him too. Doppler looking to get around him as quickly as possible.
He's definitely being. Go for it.
I was just going to say, how about Casey Bennett? I mean, he's in 8th place right now. Obviously, hasn't pitted yet. But there's not a ton of time between him and the next couple cars. So from starting from the pits, you know, maybe I'm assuming he came out on wets. That's why he hasn't pitted. Avoid some of the early carnage. We had some, you know, lap 1 on the straight carnage there, as we see Andrew Jaski still fending off Derek Doppler. This is definitely an interesting battle. We'll see if Doppler can set himself up with a good exit here. Stay in the toe of that Aston as Aston clatters over the curve. Doppler with an amazing exit, and we'll see. Wow, yes, he is a through, but now comes the sad part, potentially. for Derek as he goes defensive immediately. We would expect nothing less from a little small, stubby
Sports bug.
car engine like that, but side by side into the first turn, and Doppler is going to hold on.
Man, it
Very
just,
good racing there.
if that's this is exactly what we want to see here, is a battle between two equally skilled drivers in two very different cars here. And I think you're onto something in regards to Andrew Jaski's setup. He does seem to be struggling for grip on corner exit, but the blessing of driving the Aston is it is just one of the most stable front engine cars in the game. He's definitely being helped out by that. It's particularly good in the wet, even when it's not set up to do so. And I think that's kind of what's going on show right now. But as I'm saying that, Andrew Sear is beginning to catch up to them, even though he is negotiating traffic.
Yeah, when I first joined this series and ACC in general, I was told, the Aston was the car to go for if you just want to get to grips with things. Interjected, I know this battle's getting very close with Jaski looking right up the back bumper of Zach Doran now.
A little bit too close to his back bumper.
That also allows Andrew Sear to get another look in, but they all everything comes out in the wash. The Aston's are a really great car for anyone starting with ACC, but I just refer to it as a standard issue car. Like it's you know what to expect.
Casey Bennett, quite a run here on Andrew Sear out of the final turn. Looks like he has a shot.
And he takes it.
And that is very well done there. Casey Bennett, we just mentioned a few minutes ago, still moving up. So fighting between Doppler and Jaski has allowed Bennett to get back in it. Accidentally rhyming. Car sideways.
Car sideways. It is going to be Adam Henry.
Backing off. Whoa, son.
Whoa. That's a...
I mean, there is track over there, so...
Making sure he's well out of the way and giving Jeff a laughing fit. We've got another turn one move going on here with Matt Byrne. That is for position. However, Roadside Cookie has not pitted yet, so doesn't fight it too hard. The next car up ahead is a lap car. Always a little bit tense. Matt Byrne taking his time and just being generally very patient before making that move, and the Ferrari sees him on the inside, so that is good for him.
Question is, will Roadside Cookie get as lucky? Definitely some good awareness there from the Ferrari driver. It's gonna be Alan Hanglin at the wheel. Definitely like to see people being civil on the blue flags. I know we've talked about it a million times. It's not necessarily, ooh, Juan Kyrie's almost goes into the back of him circumstantially there.
No, that is difficult right there. I mean, you can't just disappear if you're being lapped.
Right.
And yeah, you have to keep driving. So Hamilton doing a good job with what he was given there. As we see Casey Bennett looking down the inside of Andrew Jaski. Again, turn one seems to be the spot to make the move. He's got a nice big overlap, and Andrew doesn't want to turn down on him. So we'll live to fight another day.
Yeah, I was riding very smoothly, AC. Yes, very well done. Just brake a little later, still make the turn, and there's really nothing you can do about it unless you defend it.
Hot take.
Coming down the straight.
Hot take. I think the Ferrari is great in the wet. Having driven it a couple of times, as long as you can remember to keep your right foot just a little bit lighter than normal, its agility and its ability to rotate, coupled with the relatively good aero package that it's got, makes it a great car in the wet, and we can see it going for those dives on the inside. That's the second one we've watched in the last 5 minutes.
Casey making very good time here. He's up another almost half a second on his best lap. It looks like he set up the car very well for this kind of conditions. because he is just currently mowing through the field within a second or so of a Doppler.
Similarly, we've got Juan Carres on screen now, looking up the inside of Roadside Cookie. That move wasn't quite prepared enough, so undercooked, but he backs out. Try to follow through the S's here. That's a pretty much a one line up through there. And then this is actually my favorite part of the track, where you just like gun it. Because that exit curve is blind as you're coming over the crest, but here, trying to see where the Ferrari is making up a lot of the time, and certainly he's closing into braking areas.
Casey Bennett going for another move in turn one.
Around the outside this time. Wow. Now that is impressive. The Porsche fights back, but that is just expert car placement. Very well done there by Casey Bennett. He can pass you on the inside going into that corner, and he can pass you on the outside. Very well done.
Yeah, it's you love to see it. I'd have to imagine that. I'm sorry, was it Doppler or Duran? No, Doppler. Went hard to the inside, but that puts Casey in third place before all the pit rotation happens.
We just missed it off camera there. I was trying to get there in time, but we see another move by Ferrari on the inside at turn one, and it gets around Roadside Cookie.
Now Tommy trying to fight back. Close up to the back of Andrew Sear here, so trying to make up for the spins that he had earlier in the race.
Let's see here. Looking at the predictions, he started in P13, and even with that spin earlier, when he is taking his pit stop, it is predicting he comes out in P13. So having a fantastic drive there to have a spin like that, to lose that much time and still hang on to his starting position, and he has his eyes set on gaining one.
Yeah, no, I mean, Tommy was in the gravel once, and he was in on the tarmac runner for after that, so being in the wars, but he's not giving up, and he's sending it down the inside of turn one. Andrew Sear cutting back and falling in line. Now, see if Tommy can keep his momentum. Closing it a little bit, but that's just such a tough corner in terms of, I mean, if it's hard in the dry, then it's certainly even harder in the wet.
McLaren, I think, is well suited to the kind of those long mid-speed corners there, but with an Audi on the inside there, it is exceptionally difficult to get yourself on a part of the track that's going to let you try and keep that momentum going. So it's really where I think we're going to see this battle cinch back up, is if this Audi ends up being slow in the third sector, whereas the kind of the slowest part of the track. And there we go, that right as I say that, the halfway mark has just lapsed. And we only have 29 minutes left. Still a lot of cars have yet to pit, which is very surprising to me. I'm wondering, I mean, all of them must have started on wets, and they're just hanging on as long as they can. Alex Ardoin currently sitting in provisional pole. After his pit stop, though, what is it predicting for him? It'll predict that actually he may come out behind of Matt Byrne. That'll be something to keep our eyes on when we see him go into the pits.
So interesting development here. The rain will stop sometime within the next 15 minutes.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I went back to Keith Brown just to see. He's still on dries, and I didn't notice this before, but he has already pitted too. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what went on there. You would have thought with a pit, you have to have a tire change for it to be valid. So whatever he did, he changed his tires, right? Otherwise, his stop wouldn't have counted. So, tremendous amount of ground to make up, but yeah, with 15 minutes trying out, well, we'll see. It's not over yet. Take a look at Andrew Sear going past Keith Brown, incidentally.
And he is still trying to catch up to that Audi. He's got a BMW on the outside there that he's still got to get around. This is going to be an interesting spot of track for him to try that. The BMW is going to stay in front of him pretty much no matter what he does. So I think if this is going to be a pass attempt here, it's going to come down to this hairpin at the end of the straight. Let's see what he's thinking. It looks like he's going to go for it. He thinks about it and decides to stay on the brakes. The BMW goes off wide, and I think that's going to be him through. Also of note, we've got Mattia Porta catching up to Roadside Cookie, which is technically for position at the moment, but Cookie has not served the mandatory pit stop yet.
So I was just looking back at the start incident. What it seems, I don't know if Irvin had a technical issue at all. I think he was choosing to pull off to one side. Jan Stam responded to an unexpected car going slowly on the right in coming on, on pit road, essentially on the pit exit, and then got rear-ended because the car in front and behind him didn't know what was going on, didn't know that he was about to slow, and yeah, just a domino effect from there. So that's how I've been able to pick that apart.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how the stewards review that whole thing.
Yeah. It's not straightforward.
Yeah, Porta here looking to make his way around Roadside Cookie, but Cookie putting up quite a defense through the first turn and complex there as they head through turn 3. Porta going a little bit wide, can get track limits there.
I think he's just looking for any way through.
Yeah, very wide Cookie. One of those giant ones you can get at the mall. Yeah, one of those.
Pizza-sized cookie.
Yes, yeah. Like one of those birthday cake kind of cookies, that kind of thing.
Ooh.
Giga Cookie. There you go.
I could go for a Giga Cookie right about now. This battle's still going on, but as I'm saying that, let's see how he does on this corner. But Matt Byrne has caught up to another car that has not pit yet. Looks like this may rage on for a little bit. We'll come back to it shortly here. Oh my goodness, what a time to come back. Andrew Komisarov having a bumpy run through the chicane there, right into the side of Matt Byrne, who, unfazed by it, still manages to find his way around.
Yeah, I was watching that, and they were on two very different lines. They had already been close to making contact. Komisarov now looking to see, he's gaining on the straight, and let's see if he looks to the inside, which he does not. So thought better of it.
Yeah, very interesting development here. Andrew Sear, the first of our non-pitters to pit. He was on wet tires, and we'll know in a few seconds when he comes out what he is on, but rain stopping in the next 5 minutes. And I have to say, after watching a few onboards, we can already see, from this perspective even, a dry line forming.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if this track dries out pretty quickly. So yeah, Andrew Sear off the Jackson onto dry tires. The first to do so. We'll see how that pays off for him. The track is already damp. So yeah, this might be a great decision from Andrew, because if it's already damp with 23 minutes left to go, those guys that are still on wets are going to be suffering unless they stop again.
Which I think just means that we're going to see some people hang on to that mandatory pit stop for as long as they can.
Absolutely.
And just gamble on it. I mean, if it's already damp, it's likely that it'll go to either greasy or full dry at some point in the next 23 minutes. You know, it might be worth hanging on to it to the very last minute rather than going in for a tire change, coming back out on wets, and being left hung out to dry.
No,
So to speak.
unintended.
It was kind of intended. It was one of those where I realized it as it was coming out of my mouth, and it's like, yeah, we're sending this one home.
The thought had already formed, and you were like, yep, we're going with it.
Well,
Again,
yeah, definitely another wrench yet to be thrown into this blender, but we've still got 25 runners, and just to note, Keith Brown did pit, so they went to dries, and it went to wets, I'm sorry, and yeah, it would be ironic now if it does dry out, but at the 20-minute mark, even after the start incident, we'd only gone from 29 to 27 runners, so yeah, a lot of people keeping their footing.
Oh, and it looks like some mind games there from the McLaren. May have finally got him the pass that he's been looking for the last couple of laps. Gets Cookie to overcook it into turn one, it looks like. Or maybe,
come on now.
or perhaps he's losing, you know, he's been on those tires for a while.
Ooh. Cookie's overcooking it. Come on.
Oh, that one wasn't on purpose, actually.
Cookie is a little crispy coming out of the oven there.
You're just on fire, that's all. Good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, sometimes you're having a good night on accident. It's fine. You just embrace it. Mateus Alves going to be the first one of our top three right now to come into the pits. But the one we're looking for is going to be Alex Ardoin.
Yeah, I mean, just as you said, Jeff, like this doesn't make a lot of sense unless he's going to be going to dries already. So I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Speaking of dries already, let's see. How was Andrew Sears' last lap? It was not. It was still his out lap. So he's now out on his first full lap of the dries. It'll be interesting to see how his pace looks. And speak of the devil, he's actually just right in front of us here.
Yeah, Keith Brown is gaining some time already on his dry tires. So yeah, the rain has stopped.
Yep.
Yeah, rain has stopped. Track already looks pretty darn dry. So we'll see.
Well, that's a dangerous spot to be on. Yeah, you can see how hesitant he was to bring it back in out of fear of slipping out there. And lets Wankai, or excuse me, who am I watching? That was Matt, our team, through.
And it is dries. It is dries for Alves. He's on slick tires now.
Yeah, it looks like Sears struggled a little bit. I mean, I know he had that, I wouldn't say incident there, but looks like on his tail, Mohamed Nadavan is still on wet, says Nadavan goes into the pits. But he looked like he was giving Sears some trouble there.
Ooh.
So
We saw a very risky situation there for Juan Kyries, looking to get a pass on a back marker and almost causes a collision between the two of them. That little triangle of danger there, almost closing in on him. I mean, technically this is for position, but I don't know that right now is the good time to be getting too sendy, because you know he's going to have to come in here, but I think he might be getting let through here. No, he's definitely not. Oh.
yeah, you would hate to be the pushing car behind there and then miss your braking point.
Alex Ardoin into the pits. It looks like Casey Bennett staying out. Tommy Kogan moving up the board there as a result. Derek Doppler also in.
Just looking at an Alves who was sitting in second place, carrying a decent amount of damage, unless that's just something in the livery to trick us. And I had something else, but it's gone. No, fastest lap. Mohamed Irfan has now set the fastest lap. So pole sitter initially, we thought that dry lap from Juan Carries would run to the end of the race, but indeed it has been surpassed. That means there is certainly more pace to be found still on track.
Yeah, lots of cars into the pits now, including I thought I saw. Yeah,
That's a long time to spend on with the wet tires on a dry track. I mean, I know. Well, probably is the track still damp. Maybe if Los Alves had some issues over the turn 1-2 chicane, and went for a bit of a slide there, and I believe Moncari's just made his way past Komisarov.
Got 3 more cars into the pits
I apologize.
there. Roadside Cookie, Mattia Forda, and Mohamed Efren into the pits again.
I think we're seeing some guys that already pitted having to pit again now, so... Matt Burns still holding out. He ran into some traffic, but just the previous lap, he's still on wets, and he set a best lap for him. So it looks like the wets are still probably winning out at this point. But obviously he will have to pit again. But for the folks that have yet to pit, which it only looks like Casey Bennett hasn't, oh, he's in right now, and Komisarov hasn't pit yet either.
We've got Tommy Kogan in the pits. Yeah. We've got, I mean, a few cars. 4 cars currently in the pits right now.
Yeah, we're probably close to that tipping point, I think, here. Keep an eye on Byrne and see how his next lap goes. He will have some open track that might give us a little bit more information here.
Yeah, so with hindsight being 2020, we've got a drive-through now for a car 40. That's Alec Anglin.
Did it say speeding for in pit lane, or was that track limits? I didn't quite catch that.
I think it was pit entry, but that notification has gone, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Back for Casey Bennett.
I'm confident that I don't know. Stop and go for car 55. That's Tommy Kogan. So Tommy's day does go from bad to worse indeed. It's a shame.
Didn't quite catch what the yellow flag was for Casey Bennett. I'm not sure if he lost any time or not. I just saw a flash there on the timing screen. Keith Brownwatch, his strategy has paid off at least somewhat. He is now up into 22nd place. He was hanging out in 25th. But folks that have... folks that have put it twice, he looks like he's jumped him at least, so...
Well... But if Keith himself is on wet tires, which I...
no, he's on drive, I think.
Certainly, yeah, it does look like he is on tries now.
So, are you? I've got to ask you this because I think I've done this before too. As we, take a quick break here. Doppler overshoots the corner and will in fact not make a move on Sebastian Mateus here. Sorry, we get caught up in our strategery and whatnot, and sometimes we forget about what's going on the track there. But no, I was going to ask you if you go to like F7 camera and like look at their actual tires to see if they have a Pirelli logo on them.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I have done that before, and I'm swearing to you right now that what the tires look like is not always true.
Yeah, I can believe that for sure. Brown, just looking at his times alone, like he's up on his own splits in various parts of the track, so it does seem as though the tires are working quite well for him.
And for any of you who just missed it, new fastest lap of the session from Andrew Jaski sits a 150.2 is the new time to beat.
That tracks, as the track has moved into greasy conditions now. So Komisarov, as we see Tommy Kogan in, the time to pit has passed them by, I believe.
Yeah, I think, again, I don't know if this is just a graphical issue because I'm seeing Tommy as having completed his mandatory stop. So he's just going in for the stop and go 30, which he says right away. That has been cleared, and now we're all good.
Yeah, it must be a graphical bug. Makes me wonder, has So yeah, no, Komisarov's the only one who has yet to pit as Alex Ardoin sets another fastest lap. It looks like the track's starting to speed up, so we'll probably be seeing a lot more of those coming through now.
Yep, the times will be tumbling, and look who's on top. It's Matt Byrne. The cream rises to the top, as they say, and Matt's the cream.
The question is, though, will he be able to hang on to it? Still, we're assuming he's out on wets, correct? Or did he switch to dries? Do we know?
I would think so. Well, he hit it earlier than everyone else, right? So that's, yeah, I would imagine these are wets, and Alex Ardoin, I'll be keeping an eye on the gap because that's 6 seconds right now.
Yeah,
this is coming down very rapidly. Well, we've got a fight on our hands for the very end of the race.
Yeah, I would think this is temporary. Fortunately for Mr. Byrne, he's looking for wet spots on the track that just really don't exist anymore at this point. We can see Ardoin coming down the back straight there with 12 and a half minutes to go. It's going to be a very tall order for Matt to hold him off, but I don't think that's going to pit at this point. You know, 12 minutes left. He's just going to tough it out. I imagine those tires are not very fun to drive on right now, though.
Yeah, an additional pit stop will put him down in 11th place. So I think, honestly, he needs to stay out on those tires no matter how many positions he loses, because it's not going to cost him more than an extra pit stop at this point.
He's having a lot of trouble with Keith Brown right now. Does finally get down the inside, so lose a little bit of time to lap traffic there. Andrew Jaski on Sebastian Mathius.
And Andrew Komisarov is in now. And that'll be our final mandatory pit stop, so I'll go ahead and just get rid of that counter.
Yeah, very late to be pitting, but suddenly now Casey Bennett is the fastest car on track. I think that's going to be chopping all over the place as everything dries.
Well, it's bad news for Matt Byrne, because unfortunately for him, people are continuing to get faster, and his last lap was slower than the lap previous.
Yeah, those tires will just be turning red. They will be getting so soft and tacky, and they'll be flexing all over the place. They really, it's only they're going to be offering less and less grip, basically.
Yeah, I mean, just 3 minutes later, we can see that 6 second gap is now whittled down to just shy of 4 seconds, and it is continuing to get smaller. So the question is, how long can Matt Byrne hold back Alex Ardoin?
I think it's going to come down to whenever Ardoin catches him in the last 3. Ooh, Matt Byrne, a little slide. I'm watching him entering the last chicane because Ardoin's going to have so much more grip, much of a better exit on the back straight. I'm going to guess that's where he'll get him.
So Komisarov in the Lamborghini coming out in 12th position, or 13th position, sorry, just behind Mattia Porter, but they'll have only a few minutes really to get those fresh road tires up to temperature and to do anything with it. As you see Mohamed Nundever being pressured quite heavily. Oh, sorry, Nundever putting the pressure on Ramirez.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was...
They nearly touch going around turn 2, now up and around the hill of turn 3. It's looking like he might have gotten a better exit, but that McLaren is difficult to pass in a corner. And here we go. Actually, I'm going to pull us away from this. I'm sorry, folks, but it looks like the inevitable is happening already. Matt Byrne has been caught up to by Alex Ardoin. Just judging by their corner speeds, it's just, those wet tires have got to be screaming at him right about now. Almost as red as his car, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, his only option is to defend like a lion, and that is what he's doing right now. He's taking all the insides, but Alex Arduin is around the outside. He's going to try to get the flip-flop there.
Oh, no!
As they go side to side, and that puts Matt Byrne off the track. Very unfortunate for him. Coming back on in second place, so... yeah, very, very difficult incident to pick through.
Not part of the stewarding team. I was watching Alex's on board there. It looks like Matt did try to kind of squeeze him back a little bit, but just bounced off him. Sometimes that's the way it is in ACC.
Looking back in the grid a bit, this battle between Wilfrandi Ramirez and Mohamed Nandava is still going on as they race down the front straight here into turn 1. It looks like Ramirez just far enough ahead to fend him off through the S's. And he is staying right there on track where he needs to be. He's guarding that inside line very well, and you can see the BMW has to push off wide before the next straight. Gonna cost him a little bit of time coming through the next compound of corners here. But he just continues to start closing down that gap every time it looks like it's opened back up. And speaking of closing gaps here, Andrew Sear and Matt Artem racing down the front straight here into turn 1. Andrew Sear looks to the inside. Still a lot more straight to go here now into the braking zone. Oh, that Audi wanted to turn in a little bit, but has to give that position to Andrew Sear. Otherwise, that was going to be a disaster waiting to happen. Smart mind games there from Andrew Sear.
Just want to verify that I'd be right in saying that Alex Arduin hasn't won a race yet this season.
I believe that's the case. Let me take a look over at the standings and confirm that. But I don't think you're wrong.
Mohamed Irfan has won 1-1. Zach Doran and Mattia Porter so far. So it'll be 4 for 4 if Alex does indeed win this, and he's got a good, healthy 13-14 second gap back to Juan Carriz, and we know that Matt Byrne is just falling off a cliff right now, and Juan in fact is catching up quite rapidly as well to Matt Byrne. So this will be something to watch very, very soon, as Roadside Cookie has the fellow Audi of Tommy Kogan right behind him. Tommy just breathing those exhaust fumes. Got polystyrene all over the road there. These equally matched cars, Tommy's just seeing where he can make up a little bit of time. Gaining a little bit in the braking zone, certainly through the mid-corner there. Getting right under the rear wing of Roadside Cookie. The 55 on the 5, as it were. Through the chicane. Trying not to eat the big sausage curbs. They're both keeping away from them pretty healthily, and those curbs might be holding some water still as well, so that's another danger for them there. Going right out onto the paint. We're trying to tuck into the slipstream, but as it is, Cookie seems to be pulling just a little bit. Tommy's not able to get an overlap, so he's going to have to try the next lap. And there's 2 minutes on the pit window, but I believe everyone has made their mandatory stop, and 4 minutes and 30 on the clock. So,
all right, I'm going to
pull
us away here really quick, because we've got an interesting development here. Got a pass in the making here by Casey Bennett as he crosses the line with the fastest lap of the race so far, and drag racing another Ferrari down into turn 1. He's ahead of him going into it. Let's see what happens here. Looks like he's gonna squeeze through there, and Juan Kyries on the outside just has to watch him do it, and Casey Bennett moves into 3rd place.
Wow, and here I was watching Juan Kyries thinking when he was going to catch Matt Byrne. It looks like Casey Bennett might be the next in line here, as we can see Byrne now with a back marker stuck between two back markers here, and Bennett is rapidly closing, and there is a little bit of argy-bargy there, and now Bennett is squarely
Was that
behind
Ramirez? Oh, Ramirez shoots himself
It
off
was.
track. Now the Ferrari of Juan Curry's coming up on Matt. Sorry, of Casey Bennett coming up on Matt Byrne, and I think Matt Byrne's going to be passed by all three Ferraris quite soon. Bennett around the outside, Matt Byrne trying to defend, but even before they get out of the braking zone, the move has been made. So I can't imagine what it must feel like to be driving that McLaren right now. It will be like driving on bubble gum.
Tommy Kogan move on the inside into turn one. Roadside Cookie on the outside sticks it out. Oh, but by turn three, it looks like he gets him. And just because I've been seeing it get asked in the chat for a little bit, everybody has served their mandatory pit stop. Let's take a look up at Mateus Alves here now, trying to get a piece of Matt Byrne.
Yeah, fastest lap getting passed around by like a plate of cookies here. Alves going for the move, and Matt Byrne gives him the room needed to do so. So Byrne now in fourth place with Kyrus just a second behind. He's facing pressure from Zach Doran himself. Might play into Matt Byrne's favor here. Doran on the inside. Looks like if he knows his braking point, which he does, he will get that as long as he doesn't overshoot and hit Matt Byrne. Sticking out on the inside, taking the middle line. We'll see if Doran can get the rotation to get this done on the outside, and that just is a perfect illustration of how poorly those wet tires are doing now. And it looks like he will also lead in position here to Juan Kyrus pretty soon, and then Doppler less than 2 seconds behind. We'll see with just under a minute and a half to go if Matt Byrne can mount a defense here.
I think Mohammed Irfan going for a move on Justin Eistin at turn one.
Oh, and we catch them right as they touch. Oh my goodness, and Mohammed Ifrin narrowly avoids another car coming through there.
Yep. He is parked. He knows he's been a bad boy.
Yeah, and now he gets going again.
You know, and one thing I'm going to say about that, Mohammed Ifrin, usually the front runner of these races, gotta love the sportsmanship there, even down in the leaderboard where he's not used to, is willing to recognize when he's made a mistake.
Absolutely. Man, there's a lot going on here on the front straight. Wow. Kyrus, Jasky, Doppler, Byrne. 2 battles at once. We've got them both in the same frame.
Oh. Did they touch?
With a little touch. It looked like it. That definitely looked like a touch there.
As it is, Jasky's almost going to have made 3 passes in 3 corners because
there he goes.
Everything's coming to him now in late race. So Jasky having probably what feels like the best race of his life, even if it is just for 5th place at the moment.
Right, we saw him struggle earlier a little bit, but he looks like he has definitely mounted a bit of a comeback, and I believe he's our current championship leader, so I'm sure he will be happy to finish as high as he can, all things considered.
As Doran goes back around the outside of Matt Byrne, I don't think either Matt Byrne with the car handling the way it is, or just opted not to fight that, as again he's the offending party in that incident. But now he's got another Porsche right up staring right into the tail lights.
Oh, and excuse me. There we go. Alex Ardoin going to cross the line in first place. Oh, and Matt Byrne left hung out to dry there. And excuse me, I'm going to get both cameras going here as soon as my computer will cooperate. Casey Bennett rounding the final corner there, you can see, to finish in 2nd place. Mateus
Strong race
Alves
from
right behind him for P3. Zach Doran, we can see just in front there, is going to cross in P4. Andrew Jaski in a well-deserved P5. Derek Doppler right behind him for P6. Matt Byrne, and what has got to be a relief to him and his tires, crosses the line in P7. Juan Kyries in P8. Andrew Sear rounding, let's see, he's coming around the long sweeping bend before the chicane. We've got a couple of other close battles, though, so we're going to watch them here. Sebastian Mateus trying to make up a final position here. And he does still have a couple of corners to go. We saw it got very close between him and Mattia Porta just a moment ago. Let's see if he can reel him back in. Doesn't look like it's meant to be, though, so we will see Mattia Porta there finish in P10. Also got Tommy Kogan and Matt Arteem going for a last-minute battle here for P13, and it is going to be close. A good move there by Tommy Kogan. Oh, come on. Oh, buddy. That's way too close, boys. But Tommy Kogan is going to get the inside line and pass Matt Arteem in the final corner and finish in P13.
Elbows out.
That's the definition of rubbing his racing for Tommy to make it past, and I'm just amazed that those cars did not end up facing the other direction, and then they kept it pointed towards the finish line there.
Wow. What an exciting race. Alex Ardoin taking the win comfortably, too. 23 seconds in front of Casey Bennett. Looks like Alves is going to come in third with the fastest lap. That was getting traded around very quickly there towards the end. Zach Doran in fifth. Andrew Jaski, as we said, well-deserved fifth place. And now it has switched over, and I've lost everything I was saying. So we'll go for the top five. Well done.
Sounds good. Yeah, no, I think you said it exactly right. That was an exciting race. Got all of the mixed weather shenanigans that you could have possibly hoped for, and a lot of very, very good driving to be seen around the grid, which is what we needed to see. I was excited for it. You know, Barcelona can do one of two things. It can either lead to racing like that, or it can be a snooze fest just with how big the track is, and, you know, pace tends to be pretty different, but the drivers all doing a great job of keeping it competitive throughout the race, and we got exactly what we wanted to see.
And I'm already seeing a message in the chat from Andrew Jaski here saying how fun a race that was. We had fun watching him navigate the field there, so I can only imagine how that felt.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's race. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and watched. We will have next Saturday off. We are taking an off week, but if you needed any encouragement to come back, the week after next, we will be racing at Bathurst, Mount Doom, and we will be throwing our drivers into the thick of it. So definitely come back to see that. But for tonight, I'll say it again, thank you so much for watching. We hope to catch you not next week, but the week after. So hit that follow button if you haven't already so you get notified when we go live. But until next time, you guys enjoy your evenings, and thanks for joining us over here at Apollo Racing Club. Have a good night, everybody.